The courtroom doors in Jacksonville, Florida didn't just creak open last week, they exploded with drama that no one saw coming. What unfolded inside wasn't just another case file stacked on a judge's desk. Oh no, this was the kind of spectacle that turned sisters into sworn enemies and reputations into ruins. Meghan Markle's carefully polished brand, that shimmering illusion she's paraded across talk shows and glossy interviews, it's dangling by a thread. Why? Because Samantha Markle, her estranged half-sister, just went nuclear. And the fallout? My goodness, it's already lighting fires in royal circles, Hollywood boardrooms, and even the digital streets of social media. This isn't a little family spat. This could be the beginning of the end for Meghan's American dream.
Meghan was here now. What would you say to her?
And I said, what's wrong? How can I fix this? How can I fix this?
We're not talking about a minor squabble or an awkward family Christmas dinner. These are accusations so sharp, so devastating that they could reduce Meghan's brand to a pile of ashes smoldering in the wreckage. Picture it, the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. 3 judges perched like hawks, eyes fixed on Samantha's lawyer. And what does Samantha's legal team do? They don't just file papers, they launch an attack, a full-blown demolition job, a verbal wrecking ball aimed straight at Meghan's empire. This wasn't routine. This was personal. This was calculated. This was Samantha striking at the heart of what she claims is the biggest royal deception of modern history.
I grew up as an only child, which everyone who grew up around me knows. I would have loved to have had siblings. That's why I'm so excited to be pregnant, so that Archie has someone.
The core accusation? Meghan Markle deliberately, systematically, and ruthlessly plotted a campaign to destroy her sister's reputation. We're not talking about a few nasty side comments. Samantha claims Meghan weaponized her platform, twisted her celebrity status, and clung to her victim narrative like armor, all to paint Samantha as a racist, a liar, and a troll. The consequences? Samantha says she's been bombarded with hate campaigns, drowned in death threats, and forced to live a life turned upside down. For Samantha, this wasn't just damage, it was annihilation.
Silence everybody and just produce a DNA sample.
And the timing? Oh, you couldn't script it better in Hollywood. Meghan thought the dust had settled. She thought the family drama had been boxed up, taped shut, and shoved into the attic. She was busy trying to relaunch her American dream. New business ventures, Hollywood networking, playing lifestyle guru, and then boom, Samantha yanks everything back into the spotlight with a lawsuit that threatens to torch every single thing Meghan has built. With failed Spotify and Netflix deals already bruising the Sussex brand, this case could be the knockout blow. Meghan's empire isn't just wobbling, it's on the verge of collapse.
If you had those things, it would be very easy just to put them out there and say, this is what happened. You know, this is what it is.
Samantha's team didn't show up empty-handed. Oh no, they came armed to the teeth. Receipts, timelines, documents, all lined up like soldiers ready for battle. They ripped apart Meghan's Oprah interview and her Netflix series, calling them weapons of mass reputation destruction. Every tear, strategic, every pause, calculated, every word, designed not to heal wounds but to salt them. And Peter Tickton, Samantha's lawyer, dropped the hammer. He told the judges Meghan's media appearances weren't just storytelling, they were a literal manual on how to destroy a person's life without ever facing the courtroom. Imagine hearing that. Meghan, not just being dramatic, but allegedly teaching the world how to assassinate someone's character while skating on the edge of legality. The courtroom air turned electric. This wasn't just a family feud, it was a public unmasking. And outside those walls, the internet caught fire instantly. Hashtags, think pieces, viral clips, everyone picking a side. But beneath the noise, one chilling question emerged. Was Meghan's entire public persona, her entire victim narrative, built on lies? And folks, that was just the opening act. Inside that Jacksonville courtroom, Peter Tickton didn't hesitate. He didn't flinch. He went for Meghan's jugular with what can only be described as a prosecutorial masterclass in exposing cruelty. His words, like knives. He declared Meghan's true mission wasn't distancing herself from Samantha, it was destroying her. Not discourage, not ignore, destroy. And when that word echoed through the courtroom, you could feel the shift. Suddenly, it wasn't just about hurt feelings. It was about a systematic campaign to dismantle Samantha's existence, her reputation, her safety, her place in society. Tickton painted Meghan as a genius manipulator who weaponized modern media like a pro. Those tearful moments in Oprah's living room, strategically designed to strike Samantha down. That emotional framing in Netflix's glossy documentary, purely orchestrated to portray Meghan as the ultimate victim while turning her sister into a public enemy. According to Tickton, Meghan's carefully worded only child claim was more than a slip of the tongue. It was a tactical erasure, a surgical move to wipe Samantha from the record books of her life. Think about that strategy for a second. If Meghan convinces the world she never really knew Samantha, then Samantha's criticisms get thrown in the trash. Every comment, every interview, every objection becomes the ranting of some outsider desperate for attention. Genius? Maybe. Cruel? Absolutely. And Samantha's team says Meghan knew exactly what she was doing. Takedown went even further, telling the court Meghan essentially created a blueprint for character assassination, a playbook any celebrity could pick up to destroy someone else's life without getting sued. The language she used, the associations she made, the victimhood cloak she wrapped herself in, it was, he claimed, a masterclass in legal manipulation. And the chilling result? Samantha is now despised in her own community, not disliked, not gossiped about, hated. Hated because, Takedown argued, Meghan unleashed her words like a weapon, knowing full well they'd trigger an internet mob. The threats Samantha received weren't random, her lawyer insisted. They weren't accidental byproducts of fame. They were the predictable and intentional result of Meghan's campaign. Meghan knew millions would listen. Meghan knew millions would believe. Meghan knew painting her sister as a racist troll would set fire to her reputation, and Samantha's legal team claims Meghan did it precisely because it worked. This wasn't a vague accusation. This wasn't Samantha whining about insults. This was a surgical breakdown of how Meghan supposedly turned her global influence into a wrecking ball. And the judges? They sat in silence, absorbing every syllable. Now let's rewind to the spark that ignited this inferno. Meghan's infamous only child claim. The Oprah interview wasn't just watched. It was devoured by millions worldwide. Meghan presented herself as a girl who grew up without siblings, without support. Just her and her mother against the cruel world. The sympathy? Off the charts. The emotional hook? Perfect. Except there was one giant problem. Samantha Markle exists, and she has the receipts. Decades of them to prove it. Samantha's team insists this wasn't Meghan being poetic about loneliness. It was deliberate erasure. Why? Because acknowledging a sister means acknowledging her criticisms. And if those criticisms come from someone who's actually family, they carry weight. But erase Samantha from the picture? Suddenly her words sound like the desperate noise of a stranger clawing for attention. That's the brilliance and the cruelty of Meghan's move, according to her sister's camp. The legal bar for defamation is sky high. Courts protect opinions, even nasty ones. You can't sue someone just because they said they felt unsupported, or they implied they grew up isolated. Those are subjective experiences. And Meghan's lawyers? They knew this game inside out. When it was their turn, they didn't just defend Meghan, they launched a counteroffensive. With surgical precision, they dismantled Samantha's claims one by one. Their message was clear. Meghan has every right to share her truth. Her feelings about her childhood, protected speech. Her perspective on her family, protected speech. Boozy's Netflix analysis? That's on Boozy, not Meghan. In short, they framed Samantha's lawsuit as nothing more than a desperate attempt to control Meghan's life story. And the judges seem to nod along. Opinions cannot be defamatory. Meghan saying she felt like an only child isn't a lie. It's her personal emotional truth. Her recollection of family dynamics might not match Samantha's, but courts don't punish people for having different memories or perspectives. Meghan's team even went further, portraying Samantha as vindictive, someone obsessed with forcing Meghan to tell her story the right way. In other words, this wasn't Meghan weaponizing her platform. It was Samantha weaponizing the courts. The Netflix defense was equally sharp. Meghan and Harry had control over their own words, yes. But Boozy, the producers, editorial choices, those were independent voices. Holding Meghan accountable for every opinion expressed in the documentary, they argued, was absurd. That's like suing an actor for what a critic said about their movie. Legally laughable. The twist? Meghan's lawyers flipped the narrative entirely. Suddenly, Meghan wasn't the villain destroying her sister. She was the victim of harassment, a woman being dragged through endless lawsuits by a jealous family member. And legally, that argument could be the ace up their sleeve. But Samantha wasn't going down without unleashing her so-called nuclear evidence. She came armed with what she calls the receipts. Photos, messages, family moments, all meant to prove Meghan's only child story wasn't just exaggerated, but a fabricated lie. Birthday celebrations, holidays, casual hangouts. Proof that Meghan and Samantha were far more connected than Meghan ever admitted. If those receipts are real, Meghan's carefully built isolation narrative could crumble like a sandcastle at high tide. Because here's the thing, it's one thing to say you felt like an only child. It's another thing entirely to say it while photos exist of you smiling with your sister at countless family gatherings. Samantha's team claims these aren't just family snapshots, they're smoking guns. They directly contradict Meghan's victim narrative. Add to that alleged communication records, texts, emails, conversations, and suddenly Meghan's "I barely knew her" storyline looks dangerously shaky. And here's where it gets messy. If Samantha proves Meghan knowingly misrepresented their relationship, that's not just opinion, that's potentially a false statement of fact, and that could slice straight through Meghan's legal shield. Now let's zoom out. While this legal chess match plays out, Meghan's reputation is burning in real time. This couldn't have come at a worse moment. She's been trying to rebrand herself in America, pitching authenticity, selling herself as a lifestyle figure who survived the storm. But authenticity is everything in the US market, and nothing kills a brand faster than being exposed as fake. Companies want to invest in trust. Audiences want to believe in authenticity. If Meghan loses that perception, her commercial value doesn't just dip, it plummets. And Samantha's lawsuit is pouring gasoline on doubts Americans already had. The failed Spotify deal, the underwhelming Netflix content, the privacy couple who won't stop airing their drama. People were already questioning Meghan's credibility. Now Samantha's evidence threatens to confirm their suspicions. And the media? They are feasting. Every outlet from CNN to TMZ is dissecting the case. British tabloids are practically throwing a party. After years of being painted as villains in Meghan's story, they're reveling in Samantha's claims as vindication. European outlets are treating it as a morality tale. The dangers of unchecked victimhood culture. Commonwealth media, brutally skeptical. From Australia to Canada, headlines are asking the same question. Did Meghan fool the world? The global damage is staggering. Japanese media, respectful but firm. Korean outlets, PR analysis overload. Chinese social media, picking apart every angle. The consensus forming worldwide is terrifying for Meghan. People no longer trust her story. And once that trust is gone, it's nearly impossible to claw back. So where does this nuclear war go from here? The appellate court holds the cards. If they side with Samantha, this goes back to district court for full-blown discovery. Depositions, document dumps, years of dirty laundry dragged into the light. Every private email, every message, every contradiction could be exposed. A nightmare for Meghan. If the judges side with Meghan, Samantha looks like the desperate sister who wasted time and money chasing a fantasy case. Either way, one of them is walking away with their reputation in tatters. There's no middle ground. This isn't just about law, it's about legacy. Meghan's brand, Samantha's credibility, even the royal family's lingering shadows, they're all on the line. And make no mistake, this isn't just a lawsuit anymore. It's a referendum on truth, family loyalty, and whether victimhood can be weaponized without consequence. In the end, the world will decide. Was Samantha justified in going nuclear? Or is she just torching her sister out of jealousy? Either way, one thing's for sure. This royal drama isn't ending anytime soon. And if you think this was explosive, just wait. Because in the world of Meghan Markle and Samantha Markle, the next bombshell is always just around the corner.